Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, all of you, and welcome to our discussion today. We are privileged to have Winnie Njau Mbugua in our initial discussion of careers. Today, we are looking at career in insurance and risk management. Our speaker for today is Winnie Njau Mbugua. As we mentioned earlier, Winnie Njau Mbugua is the General Manager, Jubilee General Insurance. She has been in the industry for the last 20 years. She has experience in all areas of insurance, including underwriting, what we call the technical areas. She has done commercial. She also worked for several banks and established successful bank assurance models. We are very happy to have you today. Those who have joined us through the Zoom and those who are online, questions are allowed. You can do your questions through the chat for those who are online on the Zoom. Those who are online, again, just shoot your question through our Facebook page. We'll also be able to just get back to you. My name is Livingston Makori. I'm the head of bank assurance at Jubilee Health Insurance. I've also been working with students in a number of ways. I'm the current chairman of the Alumni Association, Chuka University. In here, there are so many universities who are represented in this discussion. To mention just a few, we have students from University of Nairobi, Kisii University. We have students from Chuka, we have students from other universities, Meru, to mention just a few. Today, in our series of career talks, we'll be discussing on the career opportunities we have in the business-related field, and later we will move on to other fields. So I want to take this chance to welcome Winnie to the discussion. Winnie will take over the discussion from here. If there are any questions you have for Winnie, we will also be able to request that you send the questions. After Winnie is done with the discussion, I'll have some poll which will be running. Give us your feedback to enable us understand more and be able to answer other questions that may be coming. Winnie, we are privileged to have you today. Welcome to our inaugural career academy for university students and the young professionals. We look forward to your guidance and welcome. And thank you. So Winnie, for our starters, I know I've introduced yourself, but it'd be good for you to introduce yourself and maybe tell us who is Winnie Njau Mbugua. And then now we dive into insurance and the risk management. Welcome, Winnie.
Thank you, Livingston. Good afternoon, all participants. I welcome you to this session. As my host, Livingston, has indicated, my name is Winnie Njau Mbugua. I'm the general manager in charge of Jubilee General Insurance Company. And I'm happy to be here this afternoon. So as I alluded to earlier on, I have been in this industry for over a quarter of a century. And I have enjoyed myself. I've worked in diverse roles, but both in the core insurance industry and also in the intermediary market, as well as bank assurance. So my career straddles broking, bank assurance, and now insurance company. So I've been in all the three, and I have worked in many different roles. The topic of today basically talks about risk management and insurance. As we all know, insurance is one method of or mechanism of managing risks. So I'll start off by talking briefly about risk management or what is risk, and then we bring in insurance to see what role does it play very briefly. Then we go into the many careers that exist in this industry. And as I talk about insurance, I take cognizance of the fact that we ordinarily have very few insurance students, or very few students get attracted to pursue a career or a course in insurance whilst at the university. Sometimes maybe out of not having the full knowledge. And I think that's why we are having this session today. Sometimes you don't have the full knowledge of the industry, or maybe the people we see out there do not give us the motivation to become part of this wonderful industry. So today we'll therefore a little bit into what are the many opportunities are there and where is this industry heading, because I think there are a lot of opportunities that will help us to really see the future and the what I would call the fortunes in the industry. So you go through basically the career, what is required of you as a professional or as a student who is interested in pursuing a profession in this industry. And of course, what are the growth prospects? And then I'll talk a little bit about what do we see, what do I see today as the future, the possible future or the possible trajectory that the industry is about to take as we go into of course, into what I would call the digital future, because that's the future that we are looking at today. Livingstone?
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Just a minute. Just a minute, I'll share again.
Okay, as Livingstone tries to sort out the screen, I'll just go right ahead and basically talk about risk management. Because as we say, as I said earlier on, insurance is one of the mechanisms we use to manage risk. And please put full screen.
Okay.
In our day-to-day lives, whether at a personal level or even at the corporate level, of course, we deal with a lot of, we deal with diverse risks. And you find that, for instance, at the corporate level, we have systemic risks. These are the risks that are uncontrollable and outside our control, like political risks, maybe the economy, the performance of the economy and such, another environmental risks. Then there are also the systemic risks, which are the risks that are within our control as an organization. And when you go into, delve further deep into those risks, for instance, at the organizational level, you see we have the various types of risks, which are grouped before. We have the operational risk, we have the people risk, we have the financial risk, and we have the strategic risk. Then at the personal level, we have very many risks. We have, for instance, risks of illness, risks of death, of the breadwinner, or any of our family members, risks of loss of income, disability, loss of family property and such. And all these are risks we have to deal with in our day-to-day lives. And you can deal with them by basically avoiding it. You can avoid the risks you can avoid. You can decide, if I don't want to be exposed to a motor accident, I will not be traveling, I'll just stay at home. Today, as we avoid getting infected by COVID-19, what do? A lot of us are avoiding to go to places which are crowded. Others are even avoiding to go to work, because that's the only way you can avoid that risk. Then you can also reduce the risk. For instance, what do? To avoid catching COVID-19, we wear masks. And we are also doing many other things like washing our hands quite frequently. You can also accept the risk and deal with it. So there are risks we deliberately take. Like, for instance, even when you set up a business, that's a risk you are taking. You invest a huge capital and you decide, I'm putting this money in, and I'll manage the business effectively to ensure that I make a profit. So you can also accept it, and you can also transfer that risk. And one of the transfer mechanisms used for risk management is actually insurance. Let's go on. Yeah, so just going a little bit into the risk we were looking at. As I said, at a corporate level, we have the operational, people, financial, and strategic risks. And those risks, of course, the risks within those bigger classes are very many. If you look, for instance, at the operational risk, there are very many. The systems could fail, our technology could fail us. We may be attacked, so there are risks of cyber attacks, and these have become very common in the market as we continue. I'm not talking about the insurance industry. It is a list that is actually affecting everyone who is going into digitalization, because as you become technologically advanced, then there are also the risk of being attacked by the cyber crooks, and it's a risk that is affecting a lot of companies today. There are also reputational risks for whatever could happen, and there are so many. You could also find, for instance, talking about some of the industry, another operational risk, for instance, if you're in trading, the markets may have, you may struggle to get your goods at this time. For instance, like now when there's COVID-19, people have been struggling, some interest rates growth. So there's that operational risk. You may not get your goods to be able to continue with your business. So there are all these risks. Then there are also financial risks. And these financial risks include the risk of poor performance of the company. There could be the risk of poor controls in your financial systems, cash flow risks, and many other associated risks. Then there are also strategic risks that straddle from political risks and other environmental risks, and which sometimes are even out of our control. Then we also have the people risk. This includes fraud. There is also maybe poorly trained staff. There could be a risk where people do the wrong thing. Like in insurance, we have the risk of sometimes when you don't have competent staff giving long advice to clients and ultimately the company is sued. We have the risk of dealing with employee and industrial relations. So there are all these risks. And then of course, there are also strategic risks, like issues like governance, sometimes not complying with the governance issues, or complying with tax regulations. So there are all these risks that we have to deal with. But in a nutshell, when we look at insurance, insurance deals with pure risks. And so many of these risks which you find are covered under the various types of risks. There are many of them that are insurable, but there are also others that may not be insurable. And therefore, insurance comes in to support us in dealing with those risks that are insurable. So what are the types of insurable risks? We can talk, here I'm just giving some of the examples. We have things like the workers' compensation. When workers get occupational illnesses or they are injured in our work, we are required to pay them. That's an insurable risk. We have liability risk when we are dealing with the members of the public and that may be injured or may be affected, whose property may be affected by our activities. Those kind of risks are insured. There is also the health risk. People getting sick, may it be at personal level or corporate level. Those are, we are able to insure the medical or the medical expenses associated with that. So there are many risks, our motor vehicles, and even our professional, our omissions or commissions, our negligent act that emanate from our practice of our professional activities, those kind of risks will be covered. Let's go on, sorry. So I now want to go direct into insurance because I think that's the main topic of the day. So when we talk about insurance, I already said it's one of the mechanisms of managing risks. And therefore, we'll be looking at what is the structure of the insurance industry. Because as we talk about careers in the insurance industry, it's good to appreciate what kind of structure we have in the insurance industry. We have the two broad categories of insurance companies, and that is the life insurance and non-life insurance companies. So an insurance company will either pursue life insurance, or rather we will sell life insurance product, or they'll sell non-life. Non-life, again, is composed of so many types of insurance products. We will have but broadly we have the healthcare or the health insurance and then the non-health. So at the life, of course, we normally have in Kenya health is normally part of the non-life insurance or what we call short line insurance. Then life is where we mainly deal with the long-term insurance or group life insurances. And within each of those broad categories, there are different insurance companies and there are also a very wide variety of products that are distributed by each of those companies. Over and above these two distinct categories, we also have what we call the reinsurance companies. And the reinsurance companies are normally big. These are the companies that insure the insurance companies. Because when an insurance company, for instance, takes a risk, and I'll give you a simple example, maybe which we all know. I think a few years back we had, of course, the fire at the Kenya Airports Authority. So I'm sure we can all resonate with that. We remember there was a big fire at the airport, at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which cost the industry close to 2.5 billion in terms of payment. So you can imagine the insurance company that insured that kind of a risk. If they have to carry that whole risk alone, they can easily go under when such a huge claim comes. But for them to ensure that they can confidently pay the claim, what they do, they also take out an insurance against that risk. with a reinsurance company. So insurance companies take these huge risks, then they also reinsure themselves with the reinsurance company. So that means we have life insurance companies, general insurance company, and also reinsurance companies, which are very big and also few because they tend to support the whole industry. And the reinsurance companies, you find they also reinsure both general and they also reinsure the life insurance business. Just looking at some of the various insurance products that are available, again, you find there's a whole range of them. You find we have a whole range, for instance, of motor insurance products. We have a whole range of general insurance. Those are the what we call the casualty and liability. That's property insurance, liabilities, and all those kind of insurances that you relate to that. And there you find we have something like maybe 40, 50 products, which different products that are distributed in the market. Then we have the health insurance, again, with many kinds of products for groups, for employer-sponsored group schemes. We have also group, other group schemes where groups have come together and taken medical insurance. We have individual medical policies, we have student schemes, and we have travel insurance and various other products that are there within the health insurance. Then we also go to retirement, where you find we have the personal pension plans, we have the group pension plans, we have trusts, we have annuities, we have micro insurance, which has now become more and more recognized by the Act. We have distinct microinsurance products, and there are companies that are focusing just on microinsurance, where we focus on the small businesses and the clients who are whose earnings are low and they may not be able to buy the conventional products. Then we have agriculture class of insurance, again, where we have a whole range of products, crop, livestock insurance, greenhouses, interest-based insurance. Then we have the life insurance, where we have things like what we call the education insurance, commonly called education insurance. Those are term insurances. Then we have credit, life, mortgage protection, last expense, unit risk insurance. So there's a whole range of insurance products that's available in the market. And based now on this structure of insurance, that's how we now move on to the careers. All this, that whole structure of the insurance industry and the many products that are offered have to be supported. And possibly there's something I needed to say, that when you look at the careers that are available in the insurance industry, they normally follow the process of how business is placed in the insurance industry. For instance, to take an insurance policy, what happens? Ordinarily, you find a salesperson will come to you. This salesperson will talk to you and tell you, I want to buy or I want to sell to you an insurance product. And the salesperson will sell that product to you, and you fill a proposal form. They'll support you to fill a proposal form. You put all your details there. They deliver that form to somebody in the office, an underwriter. This underwriter evaluates the data you put on that proposal form, and based on the data you've given, they'll come up with a quotation. They'll give you a price that you need to pay for your insurance. And then once they also evaluate whether the company is willing to underwrite that risk. And once they accept and they give you a price and you are willing to pay, then you pay the premium, and the underwriter now passes that document to somebody else in operations who processes the cover. Then after the cover is processed, a policy is produced, and again, that policy is given back to you. And then there's somebody who will come and give you the after-sales service, a customer service person who will deal with all your issues, any inquiries you have and all that, they'll support you. Then at some point, you may get a claim. For instance, if it's a motor policy, you'll get a claim. So you'll come and lodge a claim with the insurance company, you fill a claim form. There's a claims adjuster who will support you through that process. You fill the form, they'll analyze the claim details, and then once they analyze the claims details, then they'll definitely will make a decision whether this vehicle needs to be repaired. Maybe it's a write-off, they need to write that vehicle off. And so they'll pass off the paperwork for approval, and then it will go to finance and you pay. So if you look at that whole process, these careers, when you talk about insurance career, it sits in that whole process of how business is acquired and processed within the insurance company. And of course, I also forgot to say, like, once you underwrite, there's also the insurance person who looks at the risk and they decide whether they are going to pay that business through what we call a treated reinsurance, or they are going to put it through facultative reinsurance. Therefore, that is an insurance person. So there's a whole age of people who support that. So going now back to the various players in this insurance business, we start with the agent who I've already talked about. When you want to take a policy, these are the people who go out to meet the client, to prospective clients. Sometimes they'll help you in evaluating the risk you have as a client, and then they recommend some relevant insurance products that will help you to mitigate your risk, some of your risks. These are agents and also brokers. Over and above that, sometimes they work closely with what the people we call the risk managers or risk affairs. So sometimes if it's a technical risk, like a commercial risk, let's say it's a huge corporate, you'll bring in the risk manager who will come and look at the overall risk and give you advice. What do you do? What are the risks that you need to reduce, avoid? What are the risks you need to insure? What kind of values, maybe they even support you, maybe what kind of exposure do you have as a company? What kind of limits may you want to look at in terms of covering yourself? Then we have, so we have those. Then in the recent past, of course, we also had bank assurance added. So you find that bank assurance, that the current insurance act, banks register agencies. So they actually fall within the agents. So they normally register agencies, and we have bank assurance agents who also do the same work that agents, brokers do. But most banks tend to focus more on their own customers. So they'll look at their customers who are taking facilities with them or banking with them and support them through that process. Then we have the next category of players who are now the underwriters, or we also call the insurers or the risk carriers. For instance, I work for Jubilee Insurance. Jubilee Insurance is a non-writer. We are a risk carrier. So this is the company that actually accepts that risk and insures you as a customer. They give you that financial security that they are saying, if the event, for instance, your vehicle is damaged by an accident or any other accidental, suffers any other accident damage or loss, we shall compensate you the market value of that vehicle at the point of the loss. Then these underwriters, as I explained earlier, also reinsure their risks. So they take the risk, and because they are those risks, they are able to retain. A company, for instance, can decide, I want to be retaining up losses of up to 3 million. Any claim that is above 3 million, that extra risk I have to push it to a reinsurer. That is normally the arrangements we call the treated insurance. There are also risks, they say, as a company, we don't have capacity for this. So for instance, we will say, we are doing aviation risk. If we insure an aircraft, which is not maybe 2 billion, we don't have capacity. So as an insurance company, we say, the risk for us here is too high. So we shall only maybe keep 5% of that risk. And the rest of it, that 95% of that risk, you push it to an insurance company. So the insurance company is huge and is able to carry that huge risk. So those are the reinsurers. Then the other people, we have the claims assessors. We have those are ordinarily independent companies that we use. We have claim assessment companies that we use. They are independent companies that have been set up by professionals. Many of them are mechanical engineers or auto engineers. So we hire them when we have a claim, and we send them to look at the vehicle and tell us what is damaged, what needs to be replaced, or is this vehicle economically repairable, or do we just write it off? Then we have what we call the loss adjusters. Loss adjusters mainly deal, these again are companies, and what they do, they deal with assessing the loss, and they're able to give us the quantum or the amount payable of a loss. So for instance, if there's an engineering loss, maybe in a factory we have an explosion and a lot of property within that factory is damaged, the loss adjuster comes in where the insurance company will appoint the loss adjuster to go in and determine how much has been damaged. What is the cost of the total damage? Maybe there was a lot of other property that was affected by that explosion. Over and above, they are even able to support the insurance company sometimes in assessing how much income has been lost. During this time, this company is out of business because of the explosion. How much have they lost? Because if the company had insured what we call business interruption, if they had taken a business interruption policy, then you have to assess within that maybe 6 months they're out of business, how much have they lost as a company? and therefore that is also determined by the loss adjusters, and then you are able to pay the claim. And these adjusters ordinarily also are people who have other careers. You find in a loss adjustment firm, you find engineers, you find accountants, you may even find lawyers, because they deal with many things. When it comes to assessing a loss, there are many factors that you deal with. So you need different professions within the loss adjustment firm to be able to deal with the big losses. Then we have investigators. Investigators, again, are mainly people who have training in forensics, in security and fraud prevention. These are people who help us to determine whether the incident reported, first of all, whether it was it's a fraudulent incident. Sometimes we know we've seen people even burning their vehicles and those kind of things, or damaging their property when they want to be paid. Sometimes we've seen maybe a client's business which is not doing very well. We have seen arsonists, people deciding to just burn down their business because it's not doing well, and they want to claim from an insurance company. So we have forensic people, we have fraud prevention people, we have security specialists. So within, again, the investigation arms, there are a lot of people, and you find a lot of companies that are set up as investigation companies are set up by people who previously worked maybe in the National Intelligence Department or such, because they have the knowledge, they have the know-how, they are able to do a lot of investigations and scientifically prove whether the incident occurred or it was deliberately manipulated or it was an accidental incident. Then we have, of course, auditors, because all insurance companies and other players like the insurance agents, brokers, they are all auditors. So we have auditors again, and you'll find in all these big audit firm, people like Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, you'll find people who specifically focus on the insurance industry. So you could even be working for KPMG, but your specialty is insurance industry. So you need to understand it. Then we have risk management companies. Again, these are companies who support insurance companies in assessing the risk. So that when we are, for instance, we are taking over a business to insure, we are taking a corporate to insure. I think I had already talked about it. They are the ones who go and assess what risks are in that company, what kind of values do these people need to give, are they underinsured or are they overinsured? So they support the insurance company as well as the client to determine the risk and the level of insurance that they need to take. Then over and above this, what we call the core players in the insurance industry, we also have third-party providers. And again, it's a whole list. Some of the players I've already talked about. You'll find them both in the insurance industry and some working as an external. So like we have the claim settlement agents, loss adjusters, as I already talked about loss adjuster before, because there are some who are employed by the insurance industry, but there are some who employ themselves, so they have their own separate companies. I talked about claims assessors. We talked about investigators. We have both internal and external investigator. List affairs, again, we have internal and external. And therefore, we also have the training consultant. The insurance industry does a lot of training. So there are people who are specifically trained, and some of them are highly technical. So they support insurance companies in training their technical people. Now we move on to careers. What careers? So what I say is that there are many careers in the insurance industry. So it's a world of opportunities. Based on what I've already said, you can see we have very many opportunities that you can take advantage of as an aspiring professional. I'll start off from where the business comes in, sales. We have the sales and the business development people. These are people who focuses on working with the clients. If you love working with clients, if you love interacting with all manner of people, you'll love this opportunity, because you can come in as a salesperson, either as an employed sales rep or an employed business development person, or you employ yourself as an agent. You do insurance, you come in. There are people who actually pursue insurance qualifications in the university, and once they leave university, they graduate, they employ themselves, and they decide, I want to be a salesperson for the rest of my life, an insurance salesperson, and they just focus on dealing with clients, going to the clients, supporting them to identify risks and recommending the relevant insurance policies, and they support them in taking the cover. So if you are people's person, you love working with people, love diversity, you love dynamism, where you work with all manner of clients, you work with people who are in different kinds of industries. You love that job, and you'll find that even in an insurance company, particularly the people who are in the business development department, over and above dealing directly with clients, they also deal with agents, brokers, banks, where they work with them closely to look for business. So they solicit business from these various people or agents who go out and look for business from the clients. We also have now the underwriting. Underwriting is good for people who love analyzing technical things. You know, you get the proposal from, you analyze the risk, you see what kind of a risk is this. Do we as a company, does it fall within our company underwriting, underwriting or risk appetite? Do we want to insure? For instance, let's say, for instance, it's an aviation risk. If an agent brings you a proposal for an aviation, you have to decide, is our company doing aviation insurance? We have an interest in taking this kind of a risk. If it's a vehicle, maybe it's a very old vehicle, as an underwriter now, you based on your company policies, you make that decision. You evaluate, you look at the risk, you also determine the rating, the correct pricing for that risk, and you give it back to the person who is dealing with the client, the agent or the broker or the business development person, and then they close the business with the client. And once they close, now you are able to do the rest. So within underwriting, you have the technical team that do the evaluation of the risk. Then there's also the team that does the processing. So the operations team, after that, you take the underwriting operation, you take the business and process the relevant document, the policy document, and of course, all other paperwork, and give it back to the client, because that becomes the contract with the client. So it's good for people who love analyzing technical things, people who love possibly be more back office and also dealing a lot with paperwork. It will be a beautiful job for you. It requires you to be well qualified, because you need to understand the technical aspect of every risk that is presented to you for underwriting. Then there is the claims team. These are the guys who deal with the claims. When the claims are intimated with the insurance company, this is the person who appoints the loss adjuster or the investigator to look at the claim. They work closely with those the loss adjuster, the investigator, and all that. When they look at the claim form that the client has completed, they are able to, is the data consistent? Is the information given on this claim form consistent? Are there gaps that I need to verify maybe through an investigator? So these are the people, again, you work a lot with other external people. Claims also, within claims, you also find people we call the legal claims people. So this is a lawyer, those are ordinary people who've done law. So, and then they come in, a lot of them do law, and then they come in and do insurance qualifications. You do like the local IAK or the ACII. And then their work is mainly to deal with the legal claims. For instance, when your vehicle has an accident, and maybe the accident is a collision between the vehicle and that party vehicle, and that party vehicle's owner maybe decides to sue you or to take you to court because they want to recover whatever damage. They think that your vehicle caused the accident, so they take you to court to recover the cost they have incurred. Maybe there was even somebody injured in the third party vehicle or in your vehicle for that matter, and they take you to court. They lodge a claim against you for recovery of damages because of the injuries suffered. The legal claims people are the people who deal with those kind of claims. They work with external lawyers. Sometimes they even go to court themselves, and they have to deal with all those issues. Their work is to ensure that you get correct determination of who is, first of all, to blame for the accident, and then, of course, computing the award or the quantum payable to the person who is claiming against the insured person. And therefore, we always have quite a number of a big group. Some insurance companies have big groups of legal people who work within the claims department. Then we have the insurance person. This one comes in more at the point of, once the business is underwritten, as I said, you need to actually take part of that business, or take part of the risk and reinsure it with the insurance company. So these are the people who determine what kind of insurance details need to be put in place for the company based on the kind of business the company does. And then they make a decision on whether each of the risks should be insured 100%, reinsured 100%, reinsured what percentage. So they basically protect the insurance company to ensure that it does not carry excessive exposure. So they protect the books of the insurance company. Then we have actuarial team. Actuaries, their work is to determine the rating for different risks. So for instance, when you have a new risk, let's say there's a huge project coming up for construction of a road or a dam, the actuaries you have to come in because they have to work closely with the underwriter and even the risk manager, look at the extent of the risk involved in this project, and they give rating. So they support the underwriting teams with rating, with determining the rates. They use the historical data as well as industry experience to determine what are the best rates, what are the optimal rates to be charged for every kind of, or every class of insurance. And they're able to also guide the company every year. They review the rates being charged, and they're able to guide the company, are we charging the correct rates, or do we need to adjust our rates upwards or downward depending on the market dynamics and many other factors, how the claims have been going, whether they've been going upwards or downwards over the last maybe 2-3 years. So they do a lot of work in just determining the risk and also looking at the portfolio mix. If the company underwriting or carrying too much of a certain risk, and the company needs to reduce the exposure in that area and possibly do business in a different line of insurance. So those are the work they do. And ordinarily they actually, it's normally a mandatory role according to the regulator. Every company must have an actuary. Then we have the risk managers. I think I already talked about what they do. They again work very closely with the sales teams and then the underwriting teams in helping clients assess their levels of risk. We also have the finance team. When the money comes, it has to be invested. So within finance, we have treasury. We have the guys who do credit control. Those are the people who give authority either to give client credit, and they also support in correction of premium. They have to ensure our premium is corrected. Then the treasury people invest that money. They are also the people who pay claims. When claims are determined and processed and approved, they move to finance. All the payments are done through finance. They pay suppliers. So finance is a critical role, and it normally has a whole age of people within it. Then we have risk and compliance. These are the people who, again, these are a mandatory role today in an insurance company. These are the people who ensure that the policies of the company are adhered to strictly. And again, we will find there are people who have different, you may have, some of them who have pursued risk management, very critical. In fact, they sit at the heart of the business because they are the engine that drives the business. Then we also have the corporate communications team who deal with the PR and such issues. These are the guys who communicate about the company, about the products of the company. They deal with the website. And again, in that, you find there are people who will be qualified even within the corporate communication department. Because for instance, if you're setting up a website of the insurance company, it's important you understand the products well and what you are putting in that website so that you do the right thing. Then we have the analysts. Analysts have become more and more important as we move more and more into data-driven business, where business today is driven through understanding the data, the history, the claims, for instance, the claims trends and all that. These are the people who analyze the data, look at how is the company performing, what is the future, what is the likely future of the company, what is the historical trend telling us about where we are going into the future. So it's also, these are people who do data analysis, and they are, and of course data scientists and such people who now give reports and analyze data and give a direction to the company management so that they're able to make the right decision. So as it were, insurance is a very versatile career. And one of the beauty about being in the insurance profession is that you can move from one sector or one job to another. You can move from an underwriter and go into sales or business development. You can move from an underwriter and go to claims. You can move from claims and go to finance. You can move even from claims, go to risk and compliance. So you can be anything. And with the current shortage of skilled human capital, which is currently experienced in the insurance industry, it means insurance companies are willing to pay reasonably well for quality skills. So if you are a well-qualified person with good technical know-how in insurance, chances of getting a very good opportunity are very high. And ordinarily, we hire a lot of people in the insurance industry who come from other courses with courses which have nothing to do with insurance. What does that mean? That when you enter the insurance industry, when you're already qualified, then you are able to improve your career because you already have the knowledge. Entry levels, of course, are commensurate with in terms of pay, that is, and benefits, are commensurate with the other entry levels for the financial services sector, and sometimes even better. You find a lot of times insurance professionals will tend to even enter the industry at slightly better terms, maybe than other peers in the financial services sector, particularly when they are qualified. And of course, they tend to grow well, dependent on their skills, performance, and knowledge. And of course, I look at the current pay levels for middle to senior level management, that will range between 50 all the way to about 1.5 in terms of, I'm talking about middle to senior level management, not executive. So it is a well-paying career for those who may want to pursue it and do what needs to be done to remain relevant and remain competent in the industry. So there exists fast opportunities. You have to realize that the insurance industry has been growing very fast over the last, let me say, maybe 15 years. Way back in the mid-90s, when some of us were trying to start growing a career in the insurance industry, the industry was a tiny industry. Underwriting, at some point, the industry was underwriting just about 20-something billion. Right now, we are doing over 200 billion. Soon heading to about 250 billion. But if you look at the insurance industry, actually, we still have massive opportunities to grow this business. The industry itself has a potential of close to $1 trillion if everybody was to take the right insurance products that they need to have. And again, it is a dynamic industry that has kept on expanding. A few years back, we saw bancassurance banks started to get involved in insurance. So you also have an opportunity to work in the bank, but in the bancassurance department. We've seen the recent regulation recognizing microinsurance, and now there are more companies that are moving into microinsurance. And then, of course, there's a lot of focus on risk management. So that's another growing area. And we continue to see a lot of mobility and cross-functional career growth with the address running opportunities. Now, I'll just pick, kind of repeat myself as I go through the various opportunities. If you look at the insurance companies, for instance, that are there in the market today, we have about 16 or thereabouts, 16 life insurance companies. Within these companies, all the laws that I've just talked about will be available. So you can decide to pursue your career and become a life insurance expert and work in the life insurance company. And when you are inside there, you can work in different laws, and you can move from one life insurance company to another when opportunities arise, which means even if you decide to just specialize in life insurance company, you still have opportunities. Over and above working for the insurance company, you can also work for the brokers. You can work for the reinsurance company on the life side. So there are huge opportunities. When you go to general insurance companies, with about 38 insurance companies, general insurance companies, there are massive opportunities. All these insurance companies require people. They require underwriters, they require marketers or sales and business development people, they require claims people, they require risk managers, they require insurance people, they require actuaries. So there are all these opportunities. Then we have the insurance companies, about 8 of them are huge companies. They tend to, of course, be very good companies, very good employers. And again, this is an area you can pursue. You can decide to specialize in reinsurance and ultimately move into the reinsurance company and grow through the ranks. And you can work in different departments, again, within the reinsurance company. It's a growing area. We've seen actually a number of new reinsurance companies attracted are coming into our market, like Waikari, Ganali, over and above the traditional old companies, Munich Re, Swiss Re, Africa Re, Enyari, PTA Re. So there are many reinsurance companies, and there is an opportunity to work in any of those companies in different roles. Then we have about 150 or thereabout licensed brokers in the insurance market. Some of the brokers are very big. There are some actually which are bigger than insurance companies. People like Minet Insurance Brokers, I'm sure you hear about them, Samara and all that. So those are brokers, again, who have all these departments. They even have actuaries, they have risk managers, they have reinsurance broking departments. So they are big companies, and again, they normally employ a lot of people. and you can work in any of these different opportunity or different laws within the brokerage. Then we have the agencies with over 6,000 registered agents. In fact, that is an understatement. They could be more. Some of the agencies are fairly big. We have agencies who are even doing over businesses worth over $1 billion. And you'll find an agent who has actually 4 or 5 employees. Some of them operate almost like brokers. I've actually met agents who have up even 8 employees. So you find it's a big office with many different people who are surfing, because they have big books that they are surfacing and they have to survey their customers. So they need technical people, they need finance people, they need sales people, so they need claims people. So again, there are huge opportunities. And remember, this insurance agency is also where we have bank assurance. Maybe I should say, I put that separately. Bank assurance, again, these are agencies, insurance agencies owned by banks. Some of the bank assurance units employ over 150 employees, because there are some banks who have an insurance person in every branch. So you'll find they'll have a lot of employees. So that's another huge opportunity. And if you're going to work in a bank, of course, you need a lot of knowledge, because if you're sitting in a branch and you are the person to go to for any customer who wants advice on insurance, it means you must be very well technically qualified. That's why you need to understand insurance end to end, because the whole branch will be relying on you when they are funding a customer. Maybe they're giving a big facility. It's you who recommend what kind of insurance program does this client need to have, what are the gaps that exist, and how do they need to close the gap, what kind of policy do they need to take. So again, in the bank assurance, there are huge opportunities, because most of the banks are employing a lot of insurance people. Then there's also the insurance regulator. IRA itself, Insurance Regulatory Authority, has very many employees. Of course, they have people in different departments who support in the regulation of the whole industry. So that's also a potential employer for those who would want to work with the regulator. They also do a lot of trainings, and I'm sure some of you have seen the training program they do across the country. Of course, with the COVID this year, they've not been going to the counties, but they do a lot of online training even currently. So they have people, they have a consumer protection department, they have a legal department, they will have an actuarial department, they will have a department that deals with claims issues, they have a supervisory department, so many opportunities. Then we have the Association of Kenya Insurers. Again, within this association, we have qualified people who support the industry in different ways. The industry, for instance, in the last few years, we have come up with a shared database for motor claims. So through the Association of Kenya Insurance, where all underwriters actually upload all their motor claims with the AKI, so that you are able to mitigate against fraud. So again, there are many roles within AKI, and a lot of the people you find working there are actually people who formerly worked in the insurance industry and then moved to the association secretariat office. Then we have the secretariat office again for the Association of Insurance Brokers, where you find there are people, there are even former people previously working in the mainstream industry who are working there. And in the recent past, we even have other associations. We have the People Association for the Agents. We have the Association of Bank Assurance, Kenya Bank Assurance Practitioners. We have an association. So there are so many of these associations. And again, when we go back to the service providers, all these service providers have different opportunities based on what they do. And because as I said earlier on, if you are also adjuster, you need different kind of qualities or qualifications or skills to be able to assess the various losses that come your way, where you are commissioned by underwriters to support them. We have the motor assessors. Again, we have companies that do motor assessment. They do motor valuation and inspection, and all these again have different people. We have auto engineers and different qualifications, or people with different qualifications that work in these companies. We have investigators. I think I already talked about them and the kind of quality you require. Surveyors, valuers, and list, of course, list surveyors who, again, you'll find people who have done degrees in risk management, maybe BSc risk, or people who've done insurance and then moved into risk management. In fact, when you do a CII, you can actually, after that, do a master's in risk management. And actually, you can, from there, you can decide to work as a risk manager. And now, moving forward, I can say that Kenya has the highest number of qualified insurance professionals. And what you find is that over and above now having very great opportunities within our country, the region relies on Kenya for manpower. Today, if you go to Tanzania, there are most of the senior positions are held by Kenyans. If you go to Uganda, the insurance companies there, most of them are in the hands of Kenyans, because we moved a little bit way ahead of the region in terms of getting qualification. We are the only people with a recognized and chartered training institution, the College of Insurance, in the whole region. And that is an institution that is recognized by the Chartered Institute of Insurance of UK and other institutes across the world. So it means we have more manpower. So if you actually even want to work outside the country, there's an opportunity for you to work in the region and even in South Africa. For instance, in South Africa, we have a lot of senior Kenyans who are working in the insurance industry. For those of you, of course, who they have interacted, and for those people, those of us in the industry who have had the opportunities to go for these African conferences and all that, you find a lot of Kenyans who are working at senior levels within South Africa and within the region at large. The beauty again is that we have a lot of insurance companies in Kenya, or Kenya insurance companies that are spread across the region. And you tend to find that they tend to also have a lot of Kenyans moving into the region through the company. So and a lot of other companies, of course, regional companies who have come into our market. And it means if you're working for any of those companies, you can work in any country where they are present. So it gives you a very good opportunity. And therefore, you are not only looking at Kenya here, we are looking at bigger opportunities in the region. So what are the education qualifications? Of course, I think we need to start with a degree. For you to start a degree, of course, you need to meet this basic minimum. And once normally we encourage people, if you want to come into the insurance industry, it's always good to pursue a degree or a relevant qualification, something like Bachelor of Commerce Insurance, or you do risk and insurance, or you could also be doing a different degree course, but you realize that you want to pursue a career in the insurance industry. So whilst you are still in college, you could actually decide to pursue what we call the IIK. That is you can pursue a diploma, local diploma in insurance, or you could even pursue, if you can afford, or your parents can afford, you can pursue the UK, what we call the CII, the Chartered Insurance Institute of UK. You pursue a diploma and then a higher diploma, so that by the time you are finishing your degree, you're already qualified in insurance. So if you pursue that kind of course on the side, along with your degree, even if your degree is an insurance degree, it means by the time you are finishing your degree, you actually even be ahead of the graduates who are graduating with insurance courses, because you already have acquired your professional. You could also finish your degree when you are doing a different course and decide to go to the College of Insurance and pursue either the local diploma, or you pursue the international postgraduate diploma. For those who want to pursue life, you could actually decide to go and pursue what we call the Life Office Management Associate. You become a Life Office Management Associate. It's a US qualification where you specialize in life insurance. And of course, most companies, you require you to have passed your degree well, of course, to get an opportunity to start off. And I think I've already talked about why you need to, why we recommend the risk and insurance or become insurance degrees, because they are already tailored towards the industry, and it helps you to quickly get an opportunity in the industry, because you are not going to start learning. You are already skilled. It means you already have the knowledge, and it's very easy for you to be trained and become a very good worker, or a very
she'll be joining us in a while. But should you have any question, you can continue to have them on the chat. You have any question for Winnie, have them on the chat so that we are able to answer. Yeah, just have them on the chat. Then again, should you want to ask a question live, you raise your hand. I'll be able to unmute you to ask a question. Any question? We can be taking question as Winnie connects back. Any question from any of us? Yes, I can see from Njenga. Mute you, just a minute. Yes, Njenga, Miss, you can ask your question.
Well, thank you, host Makori. I think I don't know.
Yes.
My question. Why is it that some students
Hello, Miss Njenga. We are not getting you, Miss Njenga. Hello. Njenga, can we get you? Any question from those who have joined us? We cannot get Njenga. I can answer some of those questions. I'm also one of the people in the industry. So should you have any question, clarification, you can be asking. I saw some questions on the chat. Maybe I work on those. Oh, yeah, somebody's saying Winnie is very fast. Yeah, because of the time, after this session, we have Dr. Feneke talking about digital media and marketing. So we have really a short time. Winnie is joined back, so we just continue from where she left. Winnie, you welcome back. Winnie, we can proceed from where we left.
Yeah, sorry for that hitch. That's called technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think we go on.
Yeah, so we are just gone to the careers. A minute again, I'll share again.
Yeah, so let me just, so I was talking about the qualifications, and I think we had finished on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is the career path? Now, the career path, a lot of people, you either come in as a management trainee, or they come in as what we call an officer level. You find a lot of jobs, underwriting officer, claims assistant, all these advertised. So they come in at that entry level, and then they rise through the ranks. And it all depends on how good you are in your work, whether you are acquiring additional skills. So if you come into the industry and you do not have any qualification in insurance, the best thing is to immediately start to pursue the papers, the technical papers. There are many insurance companies and even brokers, even some banks do pay for students. They pay for the technical papers, but there are some who don't pay. So it all depends again on what kind of arrangement is there with your employer. And even if they are not paying, at the end of the day, I always say that the skills are yours. They are not for your employer. So if the employer is not able to sponsor you, it's important to look for some finances and just save some money and educate yourself, because that is what will help you to grow in the industry. So after the entry level, you depending again on your performance and the opportunities in the company, you can within the next 2-3 years become now a fully qualified. For instance, if you come in as an underwriting assistant or as an underwriting officer, within 2-3 years, when you finish your papers, you become a full underwriter. Then from there, you can go through the ranks. You become a supervisor, and an assistant underwriting manager, an underwriting manager, a head of underwriting. So there is that career path. So there are different career paths depending on the role that you take up. But of course, acquiring the papers helps you to move much faster. And you are able to move all the way from down to the top to senior management role within between 8 to 10 years, depending again on your performance. I always say that people take different journeys depending on how they also prepare themselves and how they perform in the role they are given. Now, I don't want, I think the next slide is basically looking at what you require to be able to, to be a good performer within your work. In today's world, we say you have to work hard because there's competition, whether it's at work, whether it's whatever you do, there's a lot of competition. So you must be very hardworking. You must be a person who pays attention to details. You need to be hungry for detail. You need to pursue professional growth. You need to be passionate about. In fact, today, when organizations are interviewing for new employees, one of the things we look out for a lot is passionate. Do you show positive attitude? Are you a focused person who is clear where they are going? Are you disciplined and confident? So you also need to have a level of ambition, a plan for yourself. Where do you want to get to within the next 3, 4, 5 years? Or are you a person who is just comfortable with the current situation? And then today, again, I said customer service is what differentiates companies. So you must be a good communicator. You must have good interpersonal skills to be able to work with your colleagues, as well as work with customers, irrespective of the role you play in an insurance company. That one I can confirm to you. In one way or another, you always work with customers. So you must have a personality that is pleasant. You must be a person who is able to relate with other people in order to succeed in this career. Now, does it pay? I can say insurance is among the best paying industries. And again, as I said, it depends on you as an individual, whether you are willing to sweat, to put the sweat, to become the professional that you need to be. As I said earlier on, again, we have seen very few students are graduating from the university, which means we have a big shortage of skilled personnel. And this creates competition. There's also scarcity within the region, which means then if you are a strong person and person who is focused, a person who is building their career, you'll grow and you'll be able to earn a decent pay as you grow in the insurance industry. I like talking about these few. A lot of people don't pursue insurance, and I'm sure right now a lot of you are planning to take your specialties, and maybe you're even doing a business course, and insurance is one of the majors that you can select. But what do a lot of students see? A lot of students, you see an agent. We call them staff agent because there's that mentality that agents are struggling because they are seen walking around carrying briefcases. All I can tell you is if there are some of the what I'll call wealthy players in the industry is agents. Some of the agents do extremely well because they see a career and they pursue it with a lot of passion. And so the fact that they move around looking for business should not be used as or you should not make anyone to assume that they are struggling. A lot of agents do very good business. As I mentioned earlier on, there are even agents who have books of $1 billion in terms of the book that the business that they do, they place with underwriters. And you can imagine what kind of commission they make. We also see poor service. Of course, the industry has for long been accused of poor service. But I think today's customer is very demanding, and that has forced a lot of insurance companies to put in place mechanisms to ensure that they give excellent service to customers. As such, the issue of poor service, even being called conmen and all that, is no longer there. Some people think that the industry does not pay. I've already talked about it. It's a well-paying industry. If you pursue your career well and you are a good performer, you climb the ladder, you'll be a successful person. Again, people think that there's no progress. I think this is one industry where you can progress very fast depending on how you position yourself. Now, what people don't see are all the things we've talked about. They don't see the growth opportunities. They don't see the good pay. They don't see the fast growth in the fast-paced growth in the industry. They don't see the opportunities for cross-functional mobility. So to me, the sky is the limit. This is an industry with massive and diverse opportunities. You can be what you want to be. As I end, I would want to say that success in career requires training, discipline, and hard work. There are no shortcuts. And if you are willing to put in the sweat and you are not lazy, let me put it that way, the opportunities today are as many as they ever were. There are a lot of opportunities in the industry. Even as I talk about that, what is the future of this industry? Of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of automation going on. We have recently, in the last few months, been issuing certificates digitally. So we are moving away from paper to digital. Today, when you buy a motor insurance cover, we actually send you a digital certificate. We no longer print for you a hard copy certificate. So we see a highly automated future. We see the distribution channels changing. That's why you see that we've seen adoption of a lot of technology in terms of acquiring business, a lot of integration. So a lot of business you'll be flowing directly from agents. So even the agent of the future would necessarily have to have maybe what I call an iPad or a tablet through which they are able to do business, and the business flows directly to the insurance company. That's already happening in some insurance companies. Business is also being integrated back to the brokers, to the banks, so that the data flows automatically. We see a lot of data-driven decision making. So the role of analysts, actuaries, and such become very critical. We see more a bigger move towards risk management. So more clients being very sensitive or conscious about utilizing the surfaces of risk managers to support them. We have also seen a situation where insurance have been adopted by a lot of organizations as a key pillar in doing their business. So a lot of companies today, including industrial concerns, have an insurance office. So over and above the many roles I even talked about, you can actually work as an insurance manager for a big organization. Some of the companies, even in this market, the big companies we can talk about, they all have insurance offices. And some of these insurance offices have up to even 5 qualified people. Because if you are a big industrial concern, for instance, or a big company with a lot of investments, then you need people to guide you on how do you face your insurance program to ensure that your risks are fully protected. So that's the future. I see a lot of automation. We'll see an insurance person who has to be also very tech savvy, because a lot of this now will happen through technology. So over and above of acquiring these skills, one has to also improve their digital awareness and their digital capacity to be able to understand how to utilize the various opportunities and the social media and all that in doing the insurance business. Now, going back to the key success factors again, for you to succeed in your career, you need the right attitude, you need the right skills and competence. And of course, as I said, you need to work very hard in this competitive in this competitive world. And you have to avoid all the things that pull us back. As students, when we get into our careers, what are the things that pull us back? The low esteem. Sometimes we allow our life experience. Like sometimes when you hear people saying that insurance people are conmen, if your life experience, you've been just hearing that story that insurance people are conmen, you can allow that to actually move you away from an otherwise highly, potential career, and a career that has very high prospects and can take you very far. So we need to avoid all these factors that really pull us back: lack of skills, lack of direction, lack of discipline, lack of ambition. So if you decide this is the career that I want to pursue, you really have to be very ambitious and aim to go very far in your career by acquiring all the knowledge and the skill that you require and pursuing what needs to be pursued. As a parting shot, I'll give you the parting shot from our very own Eliud Kipchoge, which say that I believe in a philosophy that says to win is actually not important. What is important to be successful is not even to be successful, but how you plan and prepare is what is critical and crucial. When you plan very well, then success can come your way. So if you are sitting or you are attending this session and you intend to get into the insurance career, I think now you understand what you need to do. So you need to position yourself, you need to plan well and start doing what needs to be done in preparation for a highly successful insurance career. So I think I would want to add, we've already overshot our session, and sorry again, apologies for that hiccup we had with technology. Yes, and I think I want to appreciate and the little I've shared will support you in making an informed decision and in making that decision to join this beautiful profession. Welcome. Thank you. Back to Livingstone.
Thank you very much, Winnie, for the informative session. I want to give you some questions from speakers, and I start from somebody's asking on Facebook, Lilian Omondi. For Bachelor of Commerce students insurance option, must one do a professional course to strengthen the degree? Something they want to understand. Must you do a professional course if you have already done insurance and risk management?
Yes, in fact, let me say, put it this way, it's mandatory. If you want to climb in your career, that is just a foundational degree. Of course, it gives you good basics, it gives you a lot of foundational knowledge, but you realize as you pursue your technical papers that you get to learn much more. And I'll give you an example of myself. I pursued BCom insurance at the University of Nairobi, but I also had to do CII. So I'm an associate of Chartered Insurance Institute. This career, we are always rolling out new products. The nature of risks also has been changing. For instance, today we are talking about what? We are talking about cyber risk. Cyber risk is a new phenomenon that is affecting the world. It never used to be there. So today we have cyber risk insurance. So every other day, there are new risks that are coming up, and therefore we also have to keep on learning. Cyber risk is new. This is like directors and officers liability cover that came back way back about 10 years ago when we had a crisis of governance, particularly in the USA, and therefore you just have to keep on learning. So it's very, very critical that you do that diploma, because you also realize, I'm sure if you Google and look at a number of insurance roles that are currently advertised, because there are always roles that are advertised, that is always one of the mandatory requirements for insurance professionals. So it's important that you pursue that.
Well, I'll give this room to Mburu Maina. Mburu Maina, you could just ask your question. I've muted yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Macaulay. First, I want to take a good and austere opportunity to express my profound gratitude to the Corporate Career Academy and our speaker. The session was informative, contentful, and resourceful. We are thankful. So my question is basically on for those of us who want to pursue the career, but in a way want to be self-employed. So
can you be louder a little bit? Mburu, you are not loud enough.
So my question is on what if you want to start, for example, in my place, I'm from an agricultural land, and you come to notice that most of the farmers or the residents in that place operate agricultural insurance. Now, how do you go about that? Do you start your own insurance company, or do you incorporate with another insurance company to insure the farmers? Also, another question on BCom. For example, a person has pursued CPA. That means he's a certified accountant. But again, he has specialized in insurance in BCom. Now, will this person work in two careers, or how will it go? Will be an accountant and an insurance officer. How can you advise that person? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Winnie, maybe you could start with the second one, yeah?
The second one, fine.
Yeah.
Now, what I can say is that all knowledge is important in your career. And you've talked about, for instance, somebody who's done CPA. CPA, to me, actually, if it were possible, everyone should have some finance knowledge, because business is about finance. Business is about managing finance. And there are many people I know in this industry who have come into the industry when they have already finished their CPAs, and today they have moved to other roles. in fact, one of my former staff in one of my area employment, somebody was actually reporting directly to me. I remember he joined the industry when he was already CPAK. Today, he's the general manager of business development in one of the big insurance companies in the market. So he came in, he decided to select insurance. He found he wanted to go into the technical side. He preferred it. And yet when he recruited him, where I was working initially, he came in as a finance person, but he changed his mind. That's why I talked about career mobility. So when you get into an insurance company and you realize maybe you don't even love the course you had pursued, you can change. Like him, he did the CII, he finished, and even he went ahead and did a master's, an MBA specializing in insurance, and he has climbed. He's now a general manager. He's done very well for himself. So really, it's up to you. When you get in, you have to make a decision which career suits your personal objective and your career goes well. Again, depending on what kind of a person you are. Remember, there are also people whose natural capacity or personality does not allow them maybe to be business development people. And there are people who do better in a back office role where they are not necessarily dealing with customers every day. The second one is about agriculture. Agriculture insurance is available. Actually, today we have close to 10 insurance companies in this market who are offering agriculture insurance services. So one can participate if you want to support the local community. You can participate by even being invited to registered agents. They do the COP. The COP takes you just 2 months study, and you sit the exams and you pass the. Once you pass, you get the COP certification. So you can decide to support them by organizing them into a well-organized group and coming up, working closely with an insurance company to come up with a program for them. And the insurances are available. You can insure the crops, you can insure their poultry, you can insure their livestock, pigs, cows, and we even do, these days we even have insurance for camels and other such animals, which are actually the mainstay of the pastoralist community. So you can participate through different mechanisms.
Yeah, thank you very much, Winnie. I'll give this room to Wekesa. I'll only take 2 questions. The other speaker is on standby. Maybe I give this room to Wekesa. Wekesa, I've seen your hand up. Yes, Daniel Wekesa, you can unmute yourself and then ask the question. If it's not around, I give this room to.
Okay.
Yes, Wekesa.
Yes, I'm around. Yes, I'm around.
Okay.
Okay, my question goes to retirement pension scheme, about retirement pension scheme, because in the idea we learned about the retirement pension scheme being part of insurance as a unit. So, okay, of recent I've heard about changing civil servant pension scheme from non-contributory to contributory scheme. So what are the advantages of this to the employees and the effect of this to the employees' earnings? Civil servant pension scheme from non-contributory to contributory scheme in Kenya. I heard about it recently.
Thank you. Now, talking about pension schemes, yes, I'll just go direct to answer your question. Contributory is where the employee contributes a certain percentage towards his pension monthly from their monthly pay, and the employer contributes the rest. And they are different. The employer could decide both of you will be contributing equally, maybe 5% each. Another employer may decide I'll be contributing 7.5% of your pay and you contribute 5%. Another employer can say I'll contribute 10%, you contribute 5%. So it all depends on how, it's a benefit. Remember, it's a benefit. From the employer's perspective, it's a benefit they give to the employee. So the government of Kenya, of course, has been contributing 100%. And of course, given the issues we have, I'm sure we've been reading in the papers, the government is looking for ways of course, reducing their cost. Therefore, means they will no longer contribute 100% for their employees. Just like what happens in the corporate world, the employees, you also contribute to their own pension. Because remember, this pension ultimately belongs to the employee. So you need to participate in that contribution so that you also ensure that you are taking part, you are putting part of your earnings into the savings. Of course, that has an impact on the net you take. But remember, that money is still yours as an employee. So the employees of the government will still be able to access that money once they reach the retirement age, either through annuities or through lump sum payments. Again, based on how the schemes are arranged, whether they are provident or not, provident funds or not. So I think that's what I can say about that issue.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
Thank
my
you
next
very
question is on
yes. You'll be
sorry,
that'll be the
short
last
quickly.
question. Yes.
Yes, about the on risk. So there's unemployment. Is unemployment a risk? Of okay, if so, unemployment is a risk. In which category does it belong?
Yeah, unemployment, of course, is a major risk. And it is not what I would call an insurable risk. However, the only way that unemployment is covered in the insurance industry is when it comes to credit life, but it's only covered for a short period. Within credit life, there's an extension that we give under the credit life policy, which extends cover to any employee who takes a loan. And this is more so for the long-term loans like mortgage. And we say that in the event the employee is rendered redundant as a result of whatever reason, but not as a result of indiscipline, then the insurer will continue repaying your own for the months you are out of work, maybe with a maximum of 9 months. A lot of the schemes I know have give that cover up to 9 months. So if you are servicing a mortgage and it has that extension, the employer continues paying your mortgage for the next 9 months because they are giving you an opportunity. Not the employer, sorry, the insurer, yeah, continues repaying your loans for those 9 months until you get another opportunity. However, when the period is over, whether you have been able to get another opportunity or not, that cover ceases because there are some that has given you adequate ample time to look for alternative ways of getting income, and you should be able to continue paying your mortgage. So that's the only way unemployment comes in. Otherwise, it would generally not be an insurable risk because nobody can even carry that kind of risk. Maybe the government.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a very huge risk. Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
Thank you very much, Winnie, for attending this session and giving us a very good discussion. I know now where students are sitting, they understand what's insurance. We have also been able to understand that insurance is not about selling policies. There are so many opportunities within the insurance industry, and each one of us, irrespective of the course you are doing, align yourself with the insurance industry and you'll be a professional in that industry. Winnie, we look forward to hosting you next time where we can also answer specific questions, especially for those who have made their decision to join the industry. I just wish to give them a poll, or those who are on to answer this. I have just sent on your screen, there's some free questions I've launched. If you can answer those ones, some few questions on your career to help us make future decisions. Winnie, thank you very much for participating in this session and for the guidance you have given us. I'm a testimony of your good leadership and how you have been able to help us achieve where we are today. And we believe that if we have more people coming to the insurance industry, then we'll have a better life going forward. So thank you very much, and may you have a good day. We'll wish to end the session here. Our next speaker is waiting to join so that we can also have him have a short discussion. But before they leave, I just wanted you to see some few results here. Only 2 of us have answered. I wish all of us can be able to answer those questions. Yeah, let me give them 1 minute to conclude. Just in 1 minute, 5 of us conclude the poll so that we can also have some feedback from your end. Yeah, I'll wish to end it there. So from what we have here, most of the people are what influences their decision of a course is passion, and I like that, 100% of them. Which area of specialization do you consider appropriate for you? I have 29% accounting, 71 insurance. Winnie, you must have touched many souls here. 71 want to do insurance. And then I'm asking, where do you get your career advice? Most of them are saying from the career office, internet 14%, friends 14%, and the lecturers 29%. So we'll wish to do more of this career so that we are able to guide more. And again, there's a percentage you are getting from the alumni office, which is a good thing. So thank you very much for your participation, those who are viewing us. I'll be available to answer any question after our next speaker comes. Our next speaker is Dr. Fweneke. Dr. Fweneke is mostly known for comedy, but today, come and learn what he does in the area of digital marketing, in the area of marketing. Marketing is also changing how it operates from now being in the digital world. So Dr. Fweneke will be here to talk to us about marketing. So I'll request you to join through the other link. I'll be ending this session. I've shared the link on the chat. If you have not done it, any questions here, I'll be able to answer them at the end of the session. So thank you very much, guys. Let's join the next session starting at exactly 4 p.m., exactly at 4. Let's all of us join and enjoy the discussion. Thank you very much. Winnie, may God bless you and have a good day. You can also join us in the next session.